What up, gang? What up, squad? It's your boy. Are you serious? The realist, the coolest, the trillest young king. Only the platform as we speak. Welcome back to the lit banger, gang. So we got the two of the greatest ever to do it in their field. We got Elvis Presley versus Michael Jackson. What it say? Which king takes the crown? All right. So we know we done heard. Elvis did this and Michael did. Everything Michael is, he not learned everything from Elvis, but he got a good amount from Elvis. So, but I want to see what they got to say and I mean good points they making, type ish. You know what I mean? So, we're gonna see who takes the crown. Like I just said, if you're new, subscribe, like the video, comment some more bangers. If you don't know you want to like the video just yet, that's cool. Just wait to the end. And if I do my job right, you'll go ahead and like. And I got more Elvis content on the channel. I need to make a playlist for Elvis. But if you want to just type in Are You Serious and Elvis, you can see all the videos that I reacted to from Elvis. You know what I'm saying? So let's go ahead and check it out, man. Bang.
Like no other can two superstars be compared to than Michael Jackson and Elvis Presley. The searing white heat of unimaginable fame, adulation, and the mania that came with it. Both legacies are undeniable in terms of their impact on music, performance, celebrity, and the trajectory of modern popular culture. I
ain't gonna lie, man. Michael Jackson is the greatest, who I look up to, who I've always wanted to mimic myself out of. I don't dance the best, and I can't really sing the best, but as far as being a crowd pleaser, you know what I mean? Like, just giving the people what they want, always keeping the fans coming back for more. That's what I strive to be.
Icons of generations in their own right, their momentous lives surprisingly followed eerily similar paths of glory and self-destruction.
It did. They both was on that ish, gang.
First, a big thank you to all of you who continue to support massive musical powerhouses, each selling hundreds of millions of records and reaching unimaginable levels of fame and wealth. Both careers involved moves that were part of their attraction. Presley earning the nickname Elvis the Pelvis, while Jackson's legendary moonwalk was just one part of a dance-heavy act.
Damn!
Costumes came to symbolize both. Elvis popularizing capes and beaded jumpsuits in Las Vegas, and Jackson becoming known as the Gloved One, as well as popularizing other distinctive clothing items, including fedoras and military-style jackets.
No living being should ever eat processed food for every single
man, all these commercials, let's go.
Obsessive personality traits were part of their lives. Both were music perfectionists, spending long hours in the studio doing take after take until they were satisfied.
Now, one thing I do want to get better at is giving out better content. Now, y'all do complain sometimes about the kids being in the background. You know what I'm saying? I know sometimes my screen record messes up and my screen don't be it'll freeze or whatever, and but I'll put the video out regardless, you know what I'm saying? But in time, I do want to be able to do better, you know what I mean, and strive for greatness. I want every video to be 100%, you know what I'm saying? I'm working on that, though.
Quote, Elvis emerged at a point in history where our culture was ready to turn itself upside down, said Dr. John Bach, a professor at the University of Memphis' Department of Communication. Quote, from the Great Depression onto World War II and then into the Cold War, the change in values came a change in music, and you had the impact of what became rock and roll. Elvis stood at the cusp of that generational revolution.
That's crazy.
In the words of John Lennon, quote, before there was Elvis, there was nothing.
Bro,
Bach also mentioned Michael Jackson when it came to Presley's trailblazing path. Quote, where Elvis co-created a musical art form, Michael largely built on one. Where Elvis changed sexual mores in the conservative wake of World War II, Michael only made shocking crotch-grabbing movements. Elvis was the originator and blueprint for the musical superstar, teen idol, sex symbol, and phenomenon that all other juggernauts have been compared to since.
Yeah, he got laid.
Unsurprisingly then, that Michael Jackson was heralded as the Elvis Presley of the 80s on countless occasions. Although when asked, Jackson dismissed the idea that Elvis had any kind of influence on him. Quote,
really?
As important as he was to music, black as well as white, he just wasn't an influence on me. Jackson.
That's crazy. Because I heard different. I heard he looked up to Elvis. Not just because, maybe it was just because he married Lisa Marie. That could be, I don't know. But I did thought he got some of his stuff from Elvis. That's crazy.
Revealed. Quote,
That's crazy.
I guess he was too early for me. Maybe it was timing more than anything else.
Wow.
Michael Jackson, who was never shy about citing his many influences, that included Jackie Wilson, Little Richard, James Brown, and Sammy Davis Jr., to name just a few,
Sammy Davis Jr.
may have been hesitant to give further props to Elvis, who himself overshadows those who he drew so heavily from, the originators in rock and roll, black music, and performance. Sam Phillips, the Sun Records head who recorded Elvis's breakout hit, That's All Right, had famously remarked, quote, if I could find a white man who had the Negro sound and the Negro feel, I could make $1 billion. Presley's music crossed racial barriers by appealing to both black and white audiences due to his sound, a mix of rhythm and blues, soul and rock.
Acapulco.
Elvis is regarded as the first, quote, white man to play black man's music. This blurring of racial lines disturbed 1950s parents in a widely segregated America, who experts say worried about the Elvis influence on teenagers. A white guy who hung out in black clubs and incorporated rhythm and blues into his own sound.
Elvis made them sick. That's why they was upset with Elvis, because he was doing everything what the blacks was doing. You know what I'm saying? And they hated everything that we did, everything we stood for, and that's what Elvis was doing. They own people. You feel me? So hey, shout out to Elvis, because he could have easily, went straight and not went, for his dream, and there would be no Elvis. You know what I'm saying? But my dog stuck to his guns.
Jackson also broke through many racial divides in music. As in the infancy of music videos, Jackson was the first black artist to gain constant airplay on MTV. With a sound combining synthesized pop, R&B, rock, and hip-hop that appealed to both black and white listeners, Jackson himself further blurred lines as his physical transformation sparked debate as to his own racial alliances, which appeared to fall on neither black or white.
That's the song.
Like Elvis Presley, Michael Jackson's appeal cut across all sorts of boundaries, not only to people of every racial and economic group, but also of every age. Most rock stars alienated adults with rebellious stances, eccentric dress, and loud volume. For all his androgynous flash, Jackson remained as a warm, comforting figure to many parents and older pop fans. Like Elvis, he had charm, impeccable manners, discreetly soft-spoken, and placed as much value on soothing ballads as he did on his most outlandish of rock tunes. The transgressive nature of both superstars' appeal may be more deep-rooted in general psychological attractiveness that is prevalent in Greek mythology. In the views of James Hillman, an eminent Jungian analyst, the appeal of Jackson was in large part as someone who represents the, quote, puer, a psychological archetype representing an ageless innocence. Quote, an inspired, effeminate, inventive, passive, and capricious persona, who has an, quote, angelic, hermaphroditic quality where masculine and feminine are perfectly joined. The puer archetype, Hillman said, may have had a special appeal to the collective mind of modern America. Quote, as much as we are pressed by the harsh and tough economic realities, the world of the bottom line and success and failure, we yearn for the time when life was free of all those pressures. Michael Jackson embodies that innocent boy whose life is unfettered, full of style and beauty, without the grit of reality.
How do celebrities like Justin Bieber and The Rock generate hundreds of millions of dollars?
Man, I thought this was part of the video, man. It's an ad.
In contrast, Hillman saw Elvis's universal appeal as juxtaposing that of Jackson's. Quote, stars often embody some crucial psychological characteristic. Elvis Presley, for example, was a Dionysus figure, the seductive man who came to town and stole all the girls. They carry the repressed side of life, the part people are aching for in their own lives.
Elvis was in the army?
Although they had many similarities, in the mid-1980s, many journalists saw Jackson as a refreshing contrast to the hedonistic lives that for so many years characterized the world of rock and roll. As Stephen Holden from the New York Times wrote,
Look at his teeth.
Elvis, the king of rock and roll, the man who brought aggressive sexuality to the center of popular music, was remembered as an unofficial American monarch, our one and only show business king, who died of his own earthly excesses. Michael Jackson, the delicate androgynous man-child, is today's icon of pop music, but if Presley was modern pop's symbolic king, Jackson is surely its symbolic savior.
Wow.
Although Michael Jackson's humble demeanor caused the title Peter Pan of Pop to be attached to him, his drive for success and glory simultaneously led him to compete with the greats that came before him. Quote, the most important thing to him was his legacy. declared his longtime manager Bob Jones. Quote, he feared the fates of Nat King Cole, Sammy Davis Jr. Michael desired to be remembered and worshipped like Elvis.
See?
In a 1987 handwritten note by Michael Jackson, the artist proclaimed his desire to be considered much like Elvis as a king, and at the same time combat racism that plagued so many of the greats in music's past. Quote, throughout history, white men have always branded the pages of history with great white hopes, putting whites over blacks as nobles, like Elvis being the king of rock and roll, Springsteen being the boss, and the Beatles being the best. Yes, these guys were good, but they weren't better singers or dancers than the blacks. The difference is that whites control the press, the media, and they can make the public believe whatever they desire. I will change this now.
They not lying.
I will rule as the king. This explicit statement revealing Jackson's desire to not only succeed in his own personal ambitions, but to end prejudice and forge a path for future black heroes to claim status within their chosen fields, as he would himself by becoming the first, quote, black king. Rebranding himself as the king of pop, akin to Elvis's king of rock and roll, Jackson was challenged at almost every step in this pursuit. As Eric Snyder from the St. Petersburg Times noted, quote, showbiz nicknames have been around for a long time. The one most etched in the American psyche is Elvis Presley, the king of rock and roll, which is why the king of pop may hang around for a while as a second reference, but will not catch on with the public. He'll never be the king, as there already is one. But, in striving to become not just a winner, but a superstar bigger than Elvis himself, Michael felt unfairly handicapped. According to Vanity Fair's Maureen Orth, he complained to his managers that record stores carried Elvis but few other black artists. He added that the industry had conspired against him. Quote, after I broke Elvis's sales and the Beatles' sales. Years rolled on and Michael Jackson's king-like tendencies intensified as his wealth and status grew in the world of entertainment. No king would be without his own kingdom to reside over. Elvis had Graceland that allowed him to find solace and calm he often sought away from the spotlight. Michael created Neverland, a place to reclaim Jackson's lost childhood, where he could escape into his own fantasies.
Respect.
Two kings that became mirror images in their extravagances, excesses, ailments, and their struggles with the pressures of super fame. They gave away Cadillacs, houses, and donated millions to charities.
That's what I want to do.
They spent king's ransoms on prescription steroids, sedatives, and painkillers to treat their increasing ailments.
Look at my boy, Elvis.
Both were tortured with severe migraines and insomnia. In drug-induced half-sleep, they had nightmares of being murdered, triggered by the death threats they received regularly. Their physical transformations were extreme, leaving them as shadows of their former selves. Elvis, a gorgeous, highly sexual performer who burst onto the scene seemingly out of nowhere in the 1950s, ended up a bloated leading man whose good looks had faded as he battled with health and weight problems.
It is pretty wild. Like, even, we know Michael Jackson went from black to white, whatever. But the fact that Elvis was a skinny, I ain't gonna lie, he looked it good, bro. Like, pause. All the pauses in the world. But he was a good looking dude, bro. Like, I shit you not. Then you got this on the screen. Hopefully y'all can see this. Him on the keyboard, and his cheek is his bottom of his face come down here. Like, he gained like a whole bunch of weight, which of course come with age. But I don't know. I wish he would have had a better diet.
Similarly, the public witnessed Michael Jackson start his career as the adorable, charismatic lead singer of the Jackson 5, eventually evolving into a strange, almost alien-like caricature of his former self.
Yeah.
The Jackson-Presley connection would become cemented in law, with the marriage of Michael and Elvis's only child, Lisa Marie Presley, in 1994. The daughter of the king of rock and roll seeing eerie similarities in both icons when it came to their fixation on their own imminent death and self-destructive tendencies. With stories circulating that Michael planned to buy the remains of the Elephant Man, and in the 1970s, former bodyguards reported that Elvis liked to tour funeral homes and inspect embalmed bodies. Michael asked Lisa Marie to recount every intimate detail of her father's traumatic death, revealing to his then wife that he believed he would die young and in much the same manner.
Damn.
Quote, I became very ill and emotionally/spiritually exhausted in my quest to save Michael from certain self-destructive behavior, Lisa Marie Presley said. claiming that her husband told her, quote, "With an almost calm certainty, I am afraid that I am going to end up like him the way he did." The king's daughter concluded,
I don't know how to feel
quote,
about that.
"The exact scenario I saw happen on August 16th, 1977, happened again with Michael, just as he predicted."
Without being on the shitter, though.
On the verge of bankruptcy and wildly considered as has-beens, their long-standing addictions to prescription drugs resulted in a final overdose, them both suffering from cardiac arrests. Sudden deaths that shook the world at its core. The hours after Jackson's passing, Canadian singer Celine Dion claimed it felt, quote, "like when Kennedy died, when Elvis Presley died. We are not only talking about a talented person dying,
was, bro. I remember
it's an
that.
amazing loss."
I was hurt.
Back in
My
1977,
mama cried.
it was a big deal when networks led their newscasts with Elvis's death. But compare that to the 24-hour rolling news coverage and media circus that ensued in the aftermath of Jackson's own demise. It was night and day, and exhibits a vastly increased interest in pop cultural figures. In the coming days, articles analyzing the similarities between Jackson and Presley were ubiquitous and inevitable considering the similarities in their careers, triumphant paths, and tragic downfalls.
True.
Beyond the impact they made during their life, in death, the two music icons have experienced a cult of mystique that surrounds their legacies. Mystique Michael Jackson cultivated in life, now cemented in death. King's stories will persist concerning Michael's private life, that Elvis's hair was naturally blonde, that he shot at TVs. What's true? What isn't? We still don't really know. That uncertainty is part of the King's legend. So many refuse to believe the simple fact that Elvis or Michael Jackson are indeed dead. When a syndicated special called the Elvis Files aired in 1991, 79% of the people who phoned the program said they believed Elvis was still alive. People have reported seeing the King of Rock and Roll everywhere from Las Vegas, or he's in hiding, possibly in the Federal Witness Protection Program, to a Kalamazoo Burger King. And we have all seen the viral speculations online over Michael Jackson's many supposed disguises and sightings.
On the car.
Quote, "I think it's his death that's propelled him to this super mystique," said Kay Sloan, an English professor at Miami University in Oxford, Ohio. Quote, "I think you almost have to be dead to be as big as Elvis. Or, as the figures show now, Michael Jackson in that case." Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this, please give us a like and hit subscribe for more videos like this one. Also,
damn, gang, what y'all thoughts, man? They just, instead of crowning one of them, they just basically said they each of all just intertwined together the same. I don't know. I think they both got their own qualities, but Elvis did come first, so, and he did lay out the, you know, he gave Michael Jackson something to like a bar. You know what I'm saying? Of course, the Beatles did too. Don't ever get it twisted. But Elvis was Elvis, solo act. You know what I'm saying? Michael was a solo act later on in his career, so there was a bar. Elvis set that bar. So I mean, technically, Elvis is the king. You feel me? But anyway, man, if y'all new, subscribe, like the video. I hope y'all enjoyed this video. If y'all want more like this, y'all know what to do. Hit that comment section, let me know. Like I said, if you want more Elvis content from me, just type in Elvis Presley, Are You Serious? That's it. I'll pop up with all the videos I did. I will be making a playlist soon. Just bear with me, alright? I'm not off till Sunday, so I ain't doing none of that, nothing till then. Alright? Love y'all. Catch you on the next one. Deuces.